are now just 5 days away from Election Day. Both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are campaigning in battleground states of Nevada and Arizona today. And at a time when Donald Trump is hoping to court women voters, today his campaign is trying to spin the former president's comments from last night after Trump said he would protect women, quote, whether women liked it or not. Now, this coming on the heels of his rally at Madison Square Garden and racist comments about Puerto Rico. The question is, what impact is all of this having on voters? Eyewitness News reporter Stacey Sager has been speaking with them. She joins us now live from Garden City near an early voting location. Stacey.
Well, Liz, more than 60 million American voters have already spoken, casting their ballots at early voting locations like this one. So it's very hard to estimate how many voters are still undecided in this election. Nevertheless, the rallies continue today, both on a national level and here at home.
United! We'll never be defeated!
Reaction on a local scale in both Nassau and Suffolk counties continuing today, mostly in the Puerto Rican community here on Long Island, still reeling after last weekend's remarks from a comedian at the Trump rally in New York City.
A floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
The reason why these things are happening is because they don't respect us. They don't revere us. They don't think that we are an electoral element that will harm them.
And with early voting set to close on Sunday, the race is on through the battleground states, with Donald Trump trying to flip the narrative on garbage, amplifying remarks from President Biden, saying Biden called Trump supporters garbage. Biden insisting he meant the comedian. But that didn't stop Trump from greeting reporters here in Wisconsin in an orange vest and a Trump-branded trash truck.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
From here, it was on to his latest rally in Albuquerque.
If we could bring God down from heaven, he could be the vote counter, we would win this, we'd win California, we'd win a lot of states.
Meanwhile, Vice President Harris leaving for Phoenix, but not before she condemned Trump's latest remarks on protecting women, whether they like it or not.
And this is just the latest on a series of reveals by the former president of how he thinks about women.
As her campaign looped those remarks onto a split screen with messaging about abortion.
Whether the women like it or not, whether the women like it or not.
The vice president also re-emphasizing that the next few days will be about reminding undecided voters she's the candidate with the to-do list, not the enemies list.
To let folks know that I see them, I hear them, and I'm prepared to address their challenges.
And Vice President Harris attending rallies in both Nevada and Arizona today. Former President Trump is in both of those states, plus New Mexico, as the candidates continue to hit every state that's still up for grabs in these final days.